Hello and welcome to this new video. This time we're going to talk about the third conditional. Okay, this is going to be a grammar practice, and well, I'm going to explain to you the theory first, and then you're going to be able to do some exercises, some examples here. I leave some blank space here so you can fill it in with your answers. So that means that if you fill in properly, if you do it right, then you know how to do it. Okay, and if you make mistakes, I recommend you to repeat the video until you don't make any mistakes, because that will mean that you understand this tense properly. Okay. Okay, so let's go on with the usage of this tense. We use it for a hypothesis in the past, a situation that did not happen in the past. Okay, so that means a situation that has no remedy. Okay, no remedy anymore. You cannot change the past. Okay, and how do we form it? Okay, the form is we have two clauses. Okay, we have one clause with if and the second clause with would. Okay, you see would and if. Okay, these are two different clauses. You have to be careful. Never use if and would in the same clause. Okay, so the first clause is if plus past perfect, and then the second clause is would plus would have plus past participle, or what is the same, would plus present perfect. Okay. Now, in the translation, this is very important. You have to be careful because the past perfect in English, when you have if, does not translate for pretérito perfecto. Okay. De indicativo, but pretérito pluscuamperfecto de subjuntivo. So it's had done, no es había hecho, es hubiera hecho in the conditional sentence, okay, with if, okay? So if I had done, if I had worked, if I had studied, si hubiera estudiado, okay? So let's do some examples here so you practice. Si yo hubiera pasado, if I had passed. Si yo hubiera estudiado, if I had studied. Si yo hubiera parado, if I had stopped. Okay. Si yo hubiera llegado, if I had arrived. Okay. Had, hubiera. Okay. This is very important. Now the conditional part, would have done, the translation is the same. In English is the condicional compuesto, so it is the same. Okay, in this case you don't have to worry about different things. Okay, let's do some practice. Yo habría pasado. I would have passed. Yo habría estudiado. I would have studied. Yo habría parado. Would have stopped. Okay, you have to use, of course, the past participle. Okay, yo habría llegado. I would have arrived. Okay, good. Okay, let's take a look at some examples, affirmative, questions, and negative. Okay, if he had driven slowly, he would have avoided the accident. Si hubiera conducido despacio, habría evitado el accidente. Okay. Now, the question: would he have had an accident if he hadn't driven so fast? Habría tenido un accidente si no hubiera conducido tan rápido. habría tenido si no hubiera conducido, okay? Negative example. If he hadn't driven so fast, he wouldn't have had an accident. Si no hubiera conducido tan rápido, él no habría tenido un accidente, okay? So be careful with would, okay? Because would is one of the few words that doesn't have a translation to English. We don't translate would by itself, doesn't mean anything. You know, when you want to translate would, you always need a word together. Would have, would do, would get, okay? So the word itself doesn't have a translation, okay? Okay, so now we're going to do the examples, okay? The first one, it's already done, so I'll do it with you. He passed the exam because he studied a lot. Now, remember that when we have a situation which is positive, then the questioning of the hypothesis in the past should be the opposite, negative, and vice versa. If the situation, the supposition is negative, then the hypothesis in the past should be positive, okay? Which is important. He passed the exam because he studied a lot. If he hadn't studied a lot, he wouldn't have passed the exam, okay? Si no hubiera estudiado mucho, él no habría pasado el examen, okay? Question, would he have passed the exam if he had studied a lot? Habría pasado el examen si hubiera estudiado mucho. Okay, so this is the structure, okay? So now you're going to do it, okay? Now, of course, you have if and would. Remember that the questions, you have to begin by would, and the negative or the positive affirmation, you have to begin with if the case. The clock stopped because the electricity went out. So if you do it, okay? If the electricity hadn't gone out, the clock wouldn't have stopped. Now, what would be the question? Would the clock, no? Would the clock have stopped if the electricity had gone? Okay? So that is basically the idea, okay? Now, my boss arrived late because there was a traffic jam. There was. I have to transfer to the past perfect. Okay, so if there hadn't been a traffic jam, my boss wouldn't have arrived, okay, late. Okay, now would my boss have arrived late if there hadn't been a traffic jam? Okay, that is basically the idea. Okay, good, excellent. So we're going to move on to the next question. He was tired because he hadn't slept for 8 hours. So what is the hypothesis in the past? That if, yes, he wouldn't have been tired, okay, been tired, okay, in this case is been, okay, and then would Yes. Would he have been tired if he had slept for 8 hours? Okay. So this is the idea. Okay. Okay. Yes. Been tired because we're talking about the past. Okay. We're talking about the past. Here, the spell corrector is telling me be, but I mean that's possible too. If you're talking about now, but I'm talking. We are referring that he was tired. He was tired yesterday. So this correction from the grammar spell check is incorrect. So we are going to ignore it. Well, actually, he wouldn't have been tired. Okay, he wouldn't have been tired. This is correct in this case. All right. If this kid, he cried because he wasn't happy. If he had been happy, he wouldn't have cried. And the question? Okay. Would he have cried if he had been happy? Okay, well, this is basically the idea. Okay, it's only 4 or 5 examples, so the video is not too long. You can repeat. I recommend you to repeat. If you don't get the answers, if you don't fill in the blanks correctly, I recommend you to repeat the video until you fill in the blanks before I provide the answer. Okay, so that you make sure that you know how to do it by yourself. Okay, this is why you will have the blanks ready for you. Okay, so I hope that you have enjoyed the video. This is uh, the very basic information that you can know about the third conditional for now. So if you have any doubts, you can post in the comments. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video.